from the above sessions we've been conducting, but now today we are going to look at something very special, something very new, and what we can call a facilitation. Today I'm not going to teach, but I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to take you through what are the things you are supposed to do and what are some of the things you are not supposed to do when you are in a biology paper. All level students, if you are going to sit for senior 4, please don't pass this video minus listening to it. Subscribe and enjoy the lesson. Let's begin. Now we are going to begin with the biology paper 1 of senior 4. Now, what are the things you're supposed to know before you go for that paper in order if you want to excel? So this paper 1 has got section A and it has got section what? Section B. But when you look at section A, paper 1, section A has got 3 compulsory items. Section A has got 3 compulsory items. So in this session of ours, we are going to look at these 3 compulsory items in paper what? In paper 1. Now, when you look at this section or item 1, item 1 is all about plant anatomy. So senior 4 students, we expect you to have studied properly about plant what? Plant anatomy, and this is especially senior 1, senior 2 work. Now plant anatomy or plant biology is our item 1. So what do we expect in this item? Now a learner should understand how plants obtain and use nutrients to meet their requirements, during which raw materials and products are transmitted to and from various organs involved. Now here, a student must know how plants obtain and use their nutrients in this item, as we are going to see. So what do we expect? What are the content or chapter examined in this item 1? So when you look at the content or chapter examined in this item 1, the first one is they can bring you question about the general plant cells and the specialized plant what? Cells. That is one of the content or one of the chapter which can be examined. They can ask you about plant structures. And when they talk about plant structures, expect questions about roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits, and the seeds. Those are the plant structures. Now, they can also bring about plant viruses. We studied about the cassava mosaic. You remember? About that one was senior 1 chapter under the viruses. So they can also ask you about viruses. They can ask you about nutrition in plants and the mineral nutrients. That is senior 2. They can ask you about osmosis, diffusion, and active transport. They can also ask you about absorption of water and mineral salts. They can still ask you about transpiration is a necessary evil, translocation of manufactured food through the phloem. They can ask you about germination, and they can ask you about sexual reproduction in plants. I hope those are the content or those are the chapters in question 1 about plant biology, where they can do what? Where they can examine you. You get? Now here, let's look at the types of items and scenarios. Which kind of items do you expect on number 1 as a student? Now, when you look at number 1, so number 1 has got 3 parts. That is Roman number 1, Roman number 2, and Roman number 3. Or they can say part A, part B, and part C. But these are the items and scenarios. So the item focus on challenges that affect plants and their limit their quality or harvests in case of food crops. They can bring questions about the challenges which affects these plants when they are carrying out their process of manufacturing food, transporting minerals, translocation. But now, when you look at the challenges, these challenges include: one, destruction of plants by wild animals like elephants, giraffes. There's also destruction of crops by domestic animals like goats, cows. There's also drought and water stress, effects of wildfire and burning on plants, challenges of shading crops by big trees and other light barriers, effects of water on plant, the mudslides, the hailstones on different crops, salty soil environment, then locusts. Those are some of the challenges where these guys can assess. Now, from there, we can continue after seeing the challenges which we have been taking you through. They can ask you about like letter 6 or basis of evolution. Now, when we talk about the like letter 6, now here when we have the basis of assessment and the what to know as a student who want to excel in biology. Now, when you look at the basis of assessment, you can look at the organs, the structure, and the processes involved. Now, plant organs and structures, these are roots, leaves, fruits, stems, buds, and lastly flowers. When you go the process that may be affected in plants, when we talk about the processes that may be affected in plants, they can ask that name the processes which were affected by the hailstorm. Maybe when they say leaves are being torn, when they say that flowers are crushed, the stems. Now, which processes? Now, the processes they want, these are photosynthesis, gaseous exchange, respiration, absorption of water, translocation of food. Now, they say when you look at the basis of assessment, they say note, you must identify the structure. If they say identify the structure, you identify. When they say give the process, you give the what? The process according to the what? To the scenario which is involved. Now, from there, they can also ask you about the roles, stock functions of the structures of they can ask you about the roles, or function of the structure or the processes in what? In plants. Then want to know here the simple function and roles of plant structures like leaves. You have to know what is the function of the leaves to a plant, what is the function of the flower to plant, what is the function of roots to a plant, and the stems as well. So these processes are like in leaves there is a photosynthesis, transpiration, absorption, etc. Then you should also be able to identify now the challenges. Identify the challenges that plants face. Now, when you are identifying the challenges, identify all the challenges the plants face as a result of a process or structure being destroyed. For example, when they destroy the leaves, or maybe the caterpillars came and invaded maybe the coffee leaves, which processes are affected? You get, like photosynthesis will be affected, gaseous exchange will be affected. When they say identify, so you have to be in a position to identify these structures. Now, lastly, all parties they can say how plants overcome now the challenges. Now, when they say how plants overcome their challenges, like this question is tasking you that in which way do you think that these plants can overcome their challenges? For example, they can give you that coffee was hit by the hailstorm, and what happens? The leaves, flowers, and the stems were destroyed, but the roots were not destroyed, and the lateral buds. So they can say how plants overcome such challenges if they are being destroyed, and how can they be able to give good yields. So what you need to do is to think about that. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example in the next video. So please, I call upon you to subscribe on my channel Yeah, I sign out.